The gallant men of the Biafra Liberation Army engaged Nigeria terrorist army in a fierce, brutal gun battle that lasted for several hours in Orsu, Imo State. Many Nigerian military troops were killed. A tragic incident occurred in Amaebu, Orsu local government area of Imo State in the southeastern part of Nigeria, where unknown gunmen attacked the village at night, leaving many dead and residents in shock. Confusion surrounds the identity of the attackers, with allegations pointing to the Nigeria terrorist army, also called Musa Boys, wearing masks so they can't be identified. The ongoing violence highlights the insecurity in the southeast region, leading to questions about the root causes and responsible parties. Many young residents have fled the area, compounding the sorrow for families hoping to reunite during the festive season. Nigeria ranks third globally on the 2024 Global Terrorism Index, reflecting a severe terrorism and corruption crisis under its current administration. Allegations against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu label him as one of the most corrupt global leaders, intensifying national dissatisfaction. Some critics have criticized the Nigerian government for mismanagement, corruption, and the empowerment of terrorists under the guise of rehabilitation. That is why the Biafra Liberation Army is fighting them with full force to make sure they evacuate Biafra land forever. The Biafra Liberation Army have vowed to defend Biafra territory against external invasion. They see the Nigerian military present in Biafra land as a threat. That is why they are attacking every military or police checkpoints visible in Biafra land. Meanwhile, Finland authority have rejected Nigeria government petition against pro-Biafra leader Simon Kpai, citing lack of evidence, with the case reframed as cyber incitement. In another news update, Anambra State Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo faces criticism for placing a bounty on indigenous people while allegedly neglecting criminal groups responsible for violence. It is no longer news that Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo placed a 10 million naira bounty on the Biafra Liberation Army, accusing them of causing insecurity in the southeast, especially in Anambra. It was a chilly evening in Amaebu, a quiet village in Orsu local government area of Imo State, southeastern Nigeria. The villagers had begun to settle into their routines, the kind that marked the end of a long day. Children's laughter faded as they were called indoors, and the hum of kerosene lanterns replaced the glow of the setting sun. For many, it was a time to relax and share stories. But that evening, a storm of chaos would descend upon them, leaving a scar that would not heal for a long time. In the dead of night, masked attackers stormed Amaebu. Their sudden invasion shattered the fragile peace of the village. Gunshots rang out, echoing through the still air, and panic spread like wildfire. Doors were slammed shut, prayers whispered fervently, and people crouched in corners trying to make sense of the terror. By dawn, the once lively village lay quiet, but not in the way it had been before. Lives had been lost, homes had been ransacked, and a heavy cloud of grief hung over the community. Word of the attack spread rapidly across Orsu and beyond. Who were these attackers? Some said they were the infamous Musa Boys, a group often linked to violent crimes in the region. Others suggested they were part of a shadowy network of unknown gunmen, their identities concealed behind masks. The truth was as murky as the early morning fog, but one thing was clear: the people of Amaebu had suffered a devastating blow. As the community mourned its losses, the Biafra Liberation Army stepped into the fray. Known for their fierce commitment to defending what they consider their homeland, the Biafra Liberation Army engaged the Nigerian military, which they often refer to as the Nigerian Terrorist Army, in a brutal gun battle. The fight raged for hours, each side determined to outlast the other. The clash was fierce, the kind that left no room for hesitation. When the dust settled, it was reported that many Nigerian soldiers had fallen, though the Biafra Liberation Army also bore its share of casualties. For the Biafra Liberation Army, this was not just a battle, It was part of a larger war. The group has long vowed to defend Biafra land against what they see as external invaders. To them, the presence of Nigerian military forces in the southeastern region is a threat to their autonomy and safety. Over the years, they have launched attacks on military and police checkpoints, determined to make their stance clear. The violence in Amaibu and the subsequent battle with the Nigerian military were not isolated incidents. They were symptoms of a much larger issue, a region grappling with insecurity and a country teetering under the weight of corruption and mismanagement. Nigeria had recently been ranked the third most terrorized nation in the world, according to the 2024 Global Terrorism Index. Only Iraq and Afghanistan ranked higher, a grim testament to the challenges facing the nation. Adding to the growing unease were allegations against Nigeria's President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Critics labeled him as one of the most corrupt leaders globally, with his administration accused of failing to address the root causes of insecurity. Instead, they claimed the government had empowered violent groups under the guise of rehabilitation. These policies, many argued, had only exacerbated the problems in the southeast. For the families in Amaibu, these political debates felt distant and disconnected from their immediate pain. They were grieving loved ones, fleeing their homes, and trying to make sense of the violence that had turned their lives upside down. It was supposed to be a time of festive reunions, a season for families to come together and celebrate. Instead, young men and women packed their bags and left the village, seeking safety elsewhere. The heartbreak of families torn apart added to the already heavy burden of loss. Meanwhile, the story took an international turn. In Finland, a legal battle was unfolding that caught the attention of many. The Nigerian government had filed a petition against Simon Ekpa, a prominent pro-Biafra leader. Initially accused of terrorism, the charges were later downgraded to cyber incitement. The Finnish authorities rejected the petition, citing a lack of evidence. This development was seen as a significant victory for Simon Ekpa and his supporters, but it also highlighted the Nigerian government's struggles to make its case on the global stage. Back home, another controversy was brewing. Anambra State Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo found himself under fire for his handling of the security situation. Governor Charles Chukwuma Soludo had announced a 10 million naira bounty on members of the Biafra Liberation Army, accusing them of contributing to the region's instability. The decision sparked outrage among many in the southeast. Critics questioned why the governor seemed more focused on targeting indigenous groups than addressing the broader issues of violence and insecurity. To them, it felt like a betrayal, a move that ignored the real perpetrators of the chaos. As the dust began to settle in Amaibu, the villagers were left to grapple with a haunting question. Who was responsible for the attack? Was it really the Musa boys, as some had alleged? Or were there other forces at play, manipulating events from behind the scenes? The uncertainty added to their pain, making it even harder to find closure. The attack on Amaibu was not just a local tragedy, it was a reflection of the larger challenges facing Nigeria. The country's struggles with terrorism, corruption, and ethnic tensions had created a volatile environment, one where violence could erupt at any moment. For the people of the southeast, these issues were not abstract problems. They were lived realities that shaped their daily lives. For the Biafra Liberation Army, the battle in Orsu was a reminder of their larger mission. They saw themselves as defenders of their homeland, fighting against what they perceived as oppression and exploitation. To them, the Nigerian military's presence in Biafra land was not a protective force, but an occupying one. This belief drove their actions, fueling their determination to resist at all costs. In the midst of all this, the international community watched with a mix of concern and indifference. The rejection of Nigeria's petition against Simon Ekpa in Finland was a significant moment, but it also underscored the complexities of the situation. While some saw Simon Ekpa as a freedom fighter, Others viewed him as a polarizing figure whose rhetoric contributed to the region's instability. Back in Amaibu, life was anything but normal. The attack had left a deep wound, one that would take years to heal. Families mourned their losses, young people fled in fear, and the village's once vibrant spirit was replaced by a somber quiet. For the villagers, the road to recovery would be long and uncertain. As days turned into weeks, the story of Amaibu became a symbol of the challenges facing Nigeria. It was a story of loss and resilience, of a people caught between their desire for peace and the harsh realities of their circumstances. It was a story that raised important questions about leadership, justice, and the future of a nation struggling to find its way. For now, the people of Amaibu can only hope for a better tomorrow. They can hope that their leaders will find the courage to address the root causes of their struggles, that the international community will take a closer look at their plight, and that the violence that has plagued their lives will one day be a thing of the past. Until then, they carry on, their resilience a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure even in the darkest of times. The events of that fateful night in Amaibu continue to reverberate through the hearts and minds of those who experienced it. It is a reminder of how fragile peace can be, especially in a region where tensions run high and trust in authority is at an all-time low. For many, it is hard to shake off the images of destruction, the sounds of gunfire, and the cries of their neighbors. These memories linger, haunting their dreams and coloring their perception of the future. Despite the pain and uncertainty, the people of Amaibu refuse to give up hope entirely. Community leaders and elders have started conversations about how to rebuild and heal. They understand that unity is their strongest weapon against the forces that seek to divide them. Through prayer meetings, communal workdays, and open discussions, they are trying to reclaim the sense of togetherness that once defined their village. One of the most significant challenges they face is the exodus of their youth. With so many young people fleeing to avoid the violence, the community has been left without the energy and innovation that these younger generations bring. Elders worry about who will carry on the traditions, work the fields, and lead the village into a brighter future.
It's your business.
Yes, good morning to you all. Brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you one thing, that you must be very focused and we must be very resilient to what we are fighting for. Our freedom is non-negotiable. It is either we get this freedom or we all perish in the cause of fighting for our freedom. Freedom is not negotiated. Freedom is being gotten by force. Like your president will always say, grab it, snatch it, run with it. And that is what we are here to do. The global index of terrorism in the world is out, 2024. Nigeria ranks to be the third most worst country on global index of terrorism. Now, as well, the most corrupt president in the world came out as well in 2024. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is number 3rd, while Kenyan President Ruto is the 2nd. This has confirmed that Biafrans are heading home. We can no longer be in a terrorist nation. We cannot be called terrorists under the administration of Tinubu. Tinubu came through the back door as a president. You cannot steal my vehicle, paint it, after painting it and fixing the vehicle to your standard, and brings it to me and expect me to have a handshake with you. you still remain a thief.
So many families right now are in agony in Amoebu because this thing is not what they expect to see, and so many young guys has run away from that village when people are supposed to be coming back in their villages to enjoy this festival period, and this bad news is being dished out again. May God help us indeed. Who is doing this thing? Is it Musa Boys, as people allege that it is Musa Boys, or is it actor? This thing is even getting out of hands. Here in this video as well, Stephen Cross narrates everything that is happening in Nigeria, as Nigeria is being ranked among the terrorist states we have in the world, as the president of Nigeria is being alleged to be among the corrupt leaders we have in the global
sovereignty. Biafra nation is a sovereignty. Now let me tell you one thing that you people don't know, Biafrans. I didn't want to say this before. Do you know that Tinubu and his cohort brought a petition against our Prime Minister Mazi Simon Ekpa? And when they were being pressurized to bring up the what is it called, to bring up evidence to come and prove their case in Finland, they removed terrorism and they said it's cyber incitement. And when that cyber incitement was looked into and they said, okay, bring evidence, they said they are going to produce evidence in 5 months time. That is why they can sit comfortably in Nigeria and tell you that Ekpa's trial will start in March or in May, whichever time they called it, because that time frame was what they gave. They don't have any evidence to provide. And as we speak today, most of the band that was that they granted on Ekpa or they gave to Ekpa has been lifted. Most of them has been lifted. Most of the band has been lifted. Most, not all, until the investigation is over. So Musa should be careful, because what you are fighting is bigger than you. I saw you the other day on, what is it called, Aji Zero, when they were asking you if your military is corrupt. You said no, your military is not corrupt. And they said, okay, the genocide that is happening in Nigeria, what can you tell about it? If the ICC or if the ICC, the UN calls you to come and defend your country, can you come? You said yes, but you people failed to come to Finland, which means what you are doing, you don't even understand what you are doing. Nigeria is a very corrupt country, a worst country as we speak. It is better you resign quietly and resign with your dignity and your honor, so that your respect will be there. If not, they will rubbish you. I know what I'm saying. Nigeria is not a country that you can fight for. Nigeria has been overrun with terrorist people. Immediately Buhari came into power, Buhari made that place ungovernable. Buhari made all the military to be overrun with terrorist individuals. That's why you can see them arrest terrorists, arrest Boko Haram, put them in prison. The next morning they will bring them out. They will say they are repented terrorists and give them firearms, and they will go to the southeast. That is the problem. So tell him that those roadblocks that was removed should not return back there. And that is our plead. We are pleading now that it should not stay there again, because the Anambra State governor said he's leaving 10 million bounty on Biafran soldiers. Though I heard that, and I don't know if that is true, but from what we are seeing, from what I am seeing, if that is true, then Soludo should be very careful. Soludo should be very careful. There are criminals attacking and fighting our brothers and killing our brothers. You didn't put bounty on them. You are putting bounty, 10 million naira bounty on indigenous people of Biafran soldiers. You are not serious, and we are warning you. Please, this is from it. If this continues, Soludo has us to contend with. Thank you.
Those group of individuals.
Yeah, well, I think that was a psychological effect. After they've stayed, probably due to fear and all these things, sometimes they wouldn't want to. But after a while, after they've been de-radicalized and talked to, we get them out of those areas.
All right, let's go to the, leaving the north now, the issue of IPOB, the sit-at-home order. What's the status there, sir?
I think it's a lot better. I was discussing with some people from the southeast, Southeast, and they told me the sit at home is getting worn down, is wearing off, because initially some people were just using that for their own selfish interests. So now it's getting better. We'll continue to work, and we're conducting clearance operations all through.
Well,
We're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, that question will probably also lead us to asking what level of collaboration you're having with governors, particularly governors of the Southeast, in that regard.
Yeah, we're discussing with them individually and collectively. I'm sure the first quarter we're going to have a general meeting with them, because it's important for us to work together. I've said it, military solution is less than 30%. 70% has to do with good governance, fairness, justice, equity. So we cannot solve the whole entire problem on our own. We need the political leaders to also play their own role, and that is very critical to the success of the operations.
You know,
we're working together with them. We discuss with them. We will continue to do more. 2024, you will see a lot of that.
Yeah, but discussing with them and collaboration, where is technology? We know that, I mean, fighting insecurity now is all about technology. We have data everywhere and all of that. How much of that has been grabbed into the system in fighting insecurity in the country?
Sorry, please, I didn't get that.
I was asking about the adoption of technology in this fight against insecurity.
Yes, very well. We've adopted.
This is the end of our news update. Please click the icon on the top right corner of your screen to watch my next video. You will enjoy it. I will see you again in my next update. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now.